and there have been a few sporting analogies that have been bandied about during this session, so I'm going to add my own here. And it's probably not one that the Prime Minister would like, but on the point of housing affordability, I am going to say the Coalition are the rabbitohs when it comes to housing policy, because they are dead last. They are the wooden spoons. Because if we look at what is happening on housing, they vacated the field entirely. Housing affordability is a concern for families right across my electorate. There is a higher proportion of renters and mortgage holders in the electorate of Reid than in other parts of the country. So any increases in rent or interest rates has a disproportionate impact on my community. And Sydney has been ranked as the world's second least affordable market after Hong Kong, with an average home costing more than 13 times the median salary. But it hasn't always been this way. When my parents came to this country more than 4 decades ago, they worked hard and were able to buy a home within 5 years of arriving in this country. And our family's success was possible because of the stability given to them by affordable housing. Now that stability is out of reach for many families in Sydney. So how did we get here? Because a problem as big as this did not happen overnight. It has been brewing for years and years and years. And we are here because of a decade of complete and utter failure, so the rabbitohs of housing policy when it comes to the former coalition government at the federal and state levels. No investment in housing, no policies to increase housing supply. So under their watch, we are now left with a critical shortage of housing. So we all have a responsibility to do what we can to build more homes. And that is exactly what our focus has been for the last 3 budgets. We are laser focused on increasing housing supply. In our first budget, the Treasurer announced an ambitious goal of building more than 1 million homes, including $350 million for the federal government and states and territories to build 10,000 new homes each year. In our second budget, we made changes to encourage more investment in build-to-rent developments, boosted homelessness funding, and made it easier to buy a home by expanding the eligibility of the Home Guarantee Scheme. And in this recent budget, we announced $6.2 billion in new investment to build more homes and support Australians. In this budget alone, there has been more investment in housing than in all 9 of the coalition budgets combined. Over the 3 Albanese Labor government budgets, we have invested a total of $32 billion in new housing initiatives. That is a record investment, and this is what a government does when it wants to tackle housing affordability head-on. And when it comes to housing, the contrast between this side of the House and those opposite could not be more stark. We have ambitious plans, record investment, big targets to build more homes, whereas those on the opposite side have a lightweight policy that involves getting young people to raid their superannuation. It's a policy that has been collectively panned by housing experts and economists alike. We are getting on with the job of bringing home ownership back into the reach for millions of Australians. We've helped more than 110,000 Australians into home ownership through the Home Guarantee Scheme, and through the Housing Australia Future Fund, we are making the biggest investment in social and affordable housing in more than a decade. We are working with state governments and committing $1 billion in this budget to get the necessary infrastructure to make communities work: roads, parks and community facilities. In Australia, we love big infrastructure projects: the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the Opera House, the Snowy Hydro Scheme. We are obsessed with major infrastructure projects, and I think that housing is the next major infrastructure project that we as a government are going to build in this country, and that is something that we can be proud of, because we are unashamedly ambitious with our housing policy, unlike those opposite.